2023 was an incredible year for video games, but 2024 is already shaping up to be pretty epic because there are a bunch of great Nintendo Switch and Japanese RPGs that I need to break down in my big 25 list for upcoming titles. But before we get into that, what's good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get the best Nintendo Switch and Japanese RPG videos. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it, and we're starting off at number 25 with Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster, Gate Rune, and Denden Unification Wars. Now this is a really cool old school RPG. You like old school RPGs? This one you're going to be into. Two gripping, fantastic tales all in one package. Very cool stories, very kind of torn, like war-torn, kind of dreary, but then you find the light and the hope. I love that when it comes to Japanese RPGs. You got old school turn-based combat with a really cool camera like battle angle. I love the camera battle angle in this. It was always awesome back in the day when I first played it because it was so different from a lot of games, but bringing it back, we're starting to see some games we're going to talk about that have it, and yeah, it looks really cool. New quality of life features like autosave, battle, fast forward, and more. Everything's been upgraded to HD, redone audio and pixel art. So this one is looking to be pretty good. It got delayed out of 2023, so they're taking some extra time to make it special in 2024 from Konami. Is Konami kind of back? Well, maybe. We'll see here. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster makes the number 25 on the list. Number 24, Saga Emerald Beyond. This game is coming early 2024, and it's pretty cool because it's got branching story paths with multiple different characters, choices, and actions. Now, there's various different endings that you can unlock, countless scenes to discover, so you're really gonna have to be crafty if you want to get through everything here. Now, it is a unique tale on each playthrough, so it's not going to be the same thing each time that you play for a different ending. You also have a bunch of diverse worlds as well. And the cool thing about this, because Saga's been going for a really long time, and I didn't expect there to be a brand new game, but this actually includes all of the best elements from the previous Saga games when it comes to combat, when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to atmosphere. They're trying to put everything together in a new game to revitalize the series. So I'm looking forward to it. It looks pretty good, like a cool AA type of RPG, and it's coming out early 2024, so we'll see how it works out. Next up at number 23, Contra Operation Galuga, which has one of the best names ever. It's coming in early 2024. This is not a remaster. This is a brand new entry in the legendary Run and Gun Contra series. Very excited about that. You've got brand new modern graphics and sound, new stages, enemies, bosses, and more. And you've got co-op, 2 players in the story mode, in addition to 4 players in the arcade mode, and what everyone is looking forward to, the stackable upgrades. I'm hyped for this because Contra's always been one of those games that I've loved from when I was little back in the day. I played so much of Contra on the NES and the Super Nintendo. Contra's just one of those games that was legendary back then, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this one is. And I think that the co-op should be a lot of fun, especially local co-op. If you grew up old school playing with your brother or your sister or your cousin, whatever the case is, it's going to be super cool to hop back into this and have those nostalgic vibes fighting through jungles and waterfalls and all sorts of stuff, because they've really nailed, I think, in my opinion, at least the look, but then also modernizing things a bit. Next up at number 22, and it's Mario vs. Donkey Kong. And I'm thinking to myself, am I really excited for this? I think so. I've never played a Mario vs. Donkey Kong game for anything more than like a couple minutes, but the minutes that I did play was okay. And this is a full remake of the game. I think that it looks solid in terms of the graphics. Now, there has been some discussion over the price of it being a $50 game. It is a GBA remake, but I think that there's going to be some nice content in here. And once again, it's not using pixel art or anything like that. It's a full remake of Mario vs. Donkey Kong. It's a puzzle style game with some action elements as well, and I think that they did a great job with the animations and how Mario moves and sounds, and I think that it's going to be a cool little game to play next year. Not expecting anything crazy sales-wise or combat-wise or gameplay or anything, but I think it's going to be a fun, sleek game and maybe be a bit better than people are thinking based off of that first trailer. But I'm really having it in at number 22 just because it looks interesting, and I really haven't been into Mario vs. Donkey Kong before, and it looks kind of cool. So that's why it's number 22 on the list. Coming in at number 21, Penny's Big Breakaway. It's coming early 2024. This is a sleek, colorful 3D adventure platformer made by Evening Star. Many of you guys know from Sonic Mania fame. They actually developed that game in conjunction with Sega, and you use an anthropomorphic yo-yo as a weapon. Trust me, it's a lot cooler than it sounds. And that weapon, or that yo-yo, that's the name, is yo-yo. They can actually level up as well and get you new abilities to help Penny on the adventure. Now, there will be some awesome speed running elements to this game, which we'll get into a little bit more here. And there's secret stages plus items to collect. So for completionists or for people that just really want to have a dope adventure game with platforming elements and have a variety of different places to go and things to do, this game is apparently going to be packed full of it. Now, there will be a story mode in addition to a time attack mode with online leaderboards. So Sonic Mania is one of the best games that I've played on the Nintendo Switch. And when you tell me that the development team behind that game is making a brand new game, but going into 3D and it's a new IP as well, yeah, sign me up. I think it's going to be a solid game. And if anything, the controls are going to be really good because Sonic Mania's controls are awesome. So Penny's Big Breakaway makes the number 21 on the list. Coming in at number 20, Another Code Recollection. This is coming out this January, and I'm looking forward to this game because there is a rare game in the collection. It's two fully remastered games in one. And this Wii game that comes here, because I think it's like DS and the Wii, it was never released in North America because Reggie hated certain games. Like Reggie and Nintendo of America hated certain games. We almost didn't get Xenoblade because of this. So they just wouldn't remaster certain titles that they felt wouldn't sell that well. But thankfully, it's finally here now, and it's coming in a physical collection. This is going to be a buy now before rare type of game. But the cool thing about this is that it's not just the same game. You've got overhauled visuals, fully explorable environments, new voice acting, new puzzles, new music, and so much more. Plus, for people like me that hate solving stupid puzzles at times, you have an operational hint and navigation systems to help out. I think that's going to be good so you don't end up getting stuck like you would back on the Nintendo DS or Wii with these games. And graphically, it looks really good compared to the original titles. So I'm looking forward to this one, and I love these games that were never released getting physical, real collections here in the US or in other places. Very good to see that. So Another Code actually made it all the way up to number 20 on my list. Next up at number 19 is Black Myth Wukong, coming out August 20th, 2024. And this is a really hype looking action RPG from the Chinese developer Game Science. Now, it's based off of Dragon Ball Z. I mean, it's based off of Journey to the West, the old school 16th century Chinese novel. You guys know about it. It's what Dragon Ball Z is based off of. That was a joke in there. Anyway, you have fast-paced action that challenges the players, which I did like from what they showed off recently. And this is really cool. The devs seem focused on players' satisfaction. They're saying on their website that the game will never be pay to win, but there might be some expansions or DLCs in the game. So right there, you know, they're really focused on having the best gameplay experience for the players. Now, this game has beautiful graphics, and the gameplay appears to be really tight in terms of controls and speed. I love what I'm seeing from the graphics. I love what I'm seeing from the gameplay. I love what I'm seeing from the style and substance of this game. It seems like it could be the next Lies of P type of title, not in like a Soulsborne way, but that cult hit action RPG that does way better, kind of comes out of nowhere to surprise people. Action RPG, action game of the year. So Black Myth Wukong is looking really good. Next up at number 18, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy, coming out on January 25th, 2024. You play as the rookie attorney Apollo Justice and the legendary Ace Attorney. Now this is dope because it features 16 episodes, including DLC only episodes that were never released outside of there, so you finally get them, which is good because a lot of these games were stuck on the Nintendo 3DS and that whole eShop shut down. So Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, you get that game. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, my favorite game in the series, and Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. All three games being brought back, and the coolest thing is that the Switch version, to me at least, will be the definitive one because it's the only version that has physical. This is absolutely a buy now before rare, which I will have another one of those, but this is absolutely that. These are games that are pretty much shut down where you can't buy them digitally anymore. There's no way to access them, or they're on old systems where it's hard to get physical. This is absolutely a buy. You get great content, you get a lot of great games, and if you've never played Ace Attorney, might as well just pick this one up. If you don't like it, that's fine. You got yourself a rare game on the Nintendo Switch. Now, and I can't say the same thing for Xbox and PlayStation because there's no physical for those. There's only a physical on the Nintendo Switch, but I think it's a dope game just to pick up and have to collect and to have some of this history with some of the best Ace Attorney games out there. Next up at number 17, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD coming out this summer. And I'm excited for Luigi's Mansion 2 simply because, once again, crusty Nintendo 3DS or old school game coming back physical. This is a great way. Bring back these 3DS, DS games that are long lost or that people don't play anymore, that people forgot about. Bring them back and let people try it out. Luigi's Mansion blew up on the Nintendo Switch. It's a great game. It blew up. Luigi's Mansion 3, one of the best-selling titles on the platform. Luigi's Mansion 2 elevated the series from its smaller roots from the GameCube. So I think that bringing over Luigi's Mansion 2 with better visuals, with better gameplay, with increased value, all of that stuff is being added in, better audio, everything's being upgraded in this game. You know exactly what you're getting, but it's a great game. I played it back when it came out on the Nintendo 3DS and I was blown away by its visuals. I think even still to this day, you can boot it up on your Nintendo 3DS and say, this looks pretty good. So I'm guessing that playing this on a Nintendo Switch OLED portable is going to look insane because Luigi's Mansion 3 looks so good. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how it looks and going through Luigi's Mansion 2 once again. We'll see what they do with some of the online and some of the other features and content in the game. But so far, so good for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Next up at number 16, Dragon's Dogma 2. This is coming out March 22nd, 2024. And this is hype because we finally get the next evolution of Dragon's Dogma after a decade or so of essentially just having the same game with the expansion and re-releases all over the place. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks to really take the series to new heights. You've got a bunch of cool classes, you've got a bunch of cool weapons, you've even got like a Shadow of the Colossus style combat with huge titans on screen that absolutely are happening because of the increased horsepower of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox series. So I think that Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to offer even more variety and gameplay options than what we saw with the first game. That's incredible because the first game has so much stuff in there, but I think it's the tone and setting that people really get drawn to with Dragon's Dogma, along with the awesome in-depth combat system that really blends the line of a cool Japanese action RPG with a Western style fantasy setting, but kind of blending it in a really intrinsic and unique, fun type of way. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a massive game from Capcom. They're looking forward to selling a lot of copies of this game, and I think it's going to do incredibly well when it drops on March 22nd. Next up at number 15 is Megaten Musashi Wired, coming out on April 25th, 2024. And the biggest thing about this game, I've talked about it before, I'll talk about it again, is the fact that it's got complete cross-play and cross-save. You buy it on PlayStation, Switch, PC, wherever it's at. You're gonna be able to access your save file and play against or with anybody else on platforms. We absolutely need more of this because there's a lot of people that will buy multiple copies of the games over time. So if you buy it on the Nintendo Switch at first, then maybe you want to get it on PlayStation later, you can still have access to your save. So this is something that I love to see, and we need to see more from developers as more and more people get different systems and want to have connectivity to their games and not have the experience broken by playing on something different or being able to play against their friends on different platforms. So I love that about the game, The action looks really good. I love the fast-paced mech combat that I'm seeing here, and it looks like the story is actually kind of corny, but good corny in a type of way. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out as well. Level 5 delayed a lot of their games for extra polish, and I think that with this game already being available and them taking their time to get it out in the West, it's going to make it an even better version of the game. So I'm looking forward to Megaten Musashi Wired on April 25th. Next up at number 14, Dragon Quest XII: The Flames of Fate. Now this is to be decided, but I definitely think that it could launch in 2024, and the reason why I say that is because I think that the Nintendo Switch 2 is launching in 2024, and they want to reveal Dragon Quest XII in addition to another game that we're going to talk about here in the Dragon Quest franchise on the platform. So I feel that Dragon Quest XII has a good shot at launching then, and this apparently is going to be a big shakeup for the franchise. There's going to be a lot of new things. It's going to have a new, potentially darker tone, and it's going to switch up the combat in some type of way. Now, for those who don't know, Dragon Quest is more of a traditional, hardcore JRPG, and I'm thinking that it's still going to be that here, but I think that they're actually going to make the combat system more of a ATB based combat system, maybe even with some light action RPG elements. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly how Dragon Quest XII plays out. But from everything in terms of what they've said before, which is not much, I think that Dragon Quest XII is going to end up being a surprising game that shocks and does things very differently, that might have a radical reaction on all sides when it comes to Dragon Quest fans. Coming in at number 13 is Hades 2. Goodness gracious, I love the first Hades game. It's got fast-paced action, it's got plenty of upgrades, it's got a great story, variety within the environments, the levels, the speed, the difficulty, everything seemed tuned completely perfect for Hades. And with Hades 2, they are promising even bigger and badder bosses. They are promising more levels, they are promising more weapons, more creativity in combat, and so much more for this game. And I think that Hades 2, the main character, looks super cool as well. Love the female lead. Love the color scheme that she's wearing as well. But I'm looking forward to seeing if this game can really match up to what Hades 1 did. The game kind of came out of nowhere, even though Supergiant is known for making some of the best action games out there. Hades to me was still a surprise because it was much better than their previous games, and their previous games are really good. So Hades 2 has some big shoes to fill, and I think it's the first time that Supergiant decided to actually make a sequel to a game. Usually they move on to a brand new IP, something different, but I think that they still felt that they had a lot of ideas and different things they can do in the Hades world or in that universe. So they decided to revisit it. Plus they made a boatload of cash off of the game's sales across the Nintendo Switch, PC, Xbox, PlayStation. So I'm pretty sure they feel that they can make more on this as well, because Hades already has such huge clout and fan recognition. So Hades 2 looking to take over in 2024 at some point. Number 12, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, coming out this April, and I'm looking forward to this game because it's like the old school Suikoden, but they're bringing it new school. You've got brand new graphics, you've got kind of a HD 2D flair, you've got super cool effects and everything. Man, the way that they've kind of put this game together, it's absolutely the spiritual successor of Suikoden, and that's exactly what people have wanted for so long. Konami waited way too long to bring that series back, and now we have the developers of the original games creating this title across so many platforms, and it's finally going to be here. The story is looking absolutely epic. The combat is looking even more dynamic than ever, with so many different heroes to choose from and different paths and options. This is going to be a game that people really enjoy playing, and really play in different types of ways based off of your own personal preference of what type of heroes you want to use and what abilities you want to exploit. So I'm really looking forward to Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Next up at number 11 is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This one's coming out soon, January 11th, 2024, and I'm looking forward to this because it looks like Prince of Persia Dread. It absolutely looks like Prince of Dread, and I love that because Metroid Dread is awesome. and I would love to see more developers take some of the old school franchises that they have and turn them into dope 2D action side scrollers. This is exactly what some people, I know I wanted to see when it comes to Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia started its roots as a old school 2D action adventure type of game. Now this is far more fast paced than those originals, but it's still really cool and harkens back to that old school design, but also new elements as well. There's a lot of stuff that your character will be able to do in this game in terms of abilities, combat options, and it looks beautiful. It runs great apparently too on the Nintendo Switch. You're gonna get 60 frames per second across every single platform, and visually it holds up as well. So Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, do not sleep on this game. I know it's not the normal Prince of Persia that people are looking for when it comes to the next big 3D action game or even the remake, but I think that the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown could be just as good, if not better, than some of the old school Prince of Persia games that people love. Alright guys, we're in the top 10. Let's start out with Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, and yes, this is another to be decided, and the reason why I included it on the list here is because I have to include it. I think once again Nintendo is going to have that Switch 2, and Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake is going to be a game that's headlined on the platform. The Nintendo Switch is one of the most successful platforms of all time, and it absolutely dominates and took over Japan. What do you want? If you want hype and new sales for your game, what do? Well, you release it on the most popular system with the brands, and that is Nintendo Switch, and that will probably roll into Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I do think that this game will be on the standard Nintendo Switch, and it could even be on other platforms, but Dragon Quest is just so big in Japan. We saw what happened with Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince, a spin-off, sold over 345,000 units in Japan, actually surpassing Final Fantasy XVI's debut sales, a mainline Final Fantasy game. Yes, huge install base difference, but Nintendo and Dragon Quest is just massive, so I'm guessing that Nintendo and SquareEnix would absolutely want to wait and have a dual launch across platforms, but the Nintendo Switch 2 as well included in there. Why else have we not seen anything on this game? It just seems so suspect that went complete radio silence. Nintendo has also been known to tell developers to hold on to some of their games, especially if they've already released a big entry on the Nintendo Switch. They did this with Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, telling them to, hey, hold on to it, release it on the next Switch. Ubisoft didn't listen. But yeah, I think that this is awesome to see. I think that Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake is going to be incredible. Dragon Quest III is already an awesome game, so obviously this game is going to take everything there that people love about the HD 2D games and take everything that people love about Dragon Quest and put them together beautifully, so I'm looking forward to it. Next up at number 9 is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, coming out on February 1st, and that's when things get kind of crazy. February is going to be a massive month for games, but Grand Blue is first, and I'm looking forward to this because I think that Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is a game that is met by destiny. No matter what has happened, they pushed through. They've got this from Platinum Games to their own in-house, and over all of the years, it's looked incredible at every step of the way. You've got co-op, you've got multiplayer, you've got a bunch of cool missions, you've got great combat. It seems like very tightness when it comes to the controls and the graphics and the sound and the design. The boss battles look fun, the environments are incredibly detailed, and it just looks beautiful in motion. There's so many things about Grand Blue Fantasy Relink that just screams incredible action RPG or must play. I'm getting better vibes from this game than I got for Tales of Arise, just because the party members look like it's better in terms of the combat and what you can do and the depth within it. Next up at number 8 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and this is a big one as well, February 29th. And what else can you say? Yes, they're splitting up the Final Fantasy games, but these are essentially new games at this point. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but this one is actually doing a lot of the things that people would have loved to see in the original game and even in Final Fantasy 16. I love the fact that you have more of an open-ended world. It's not going to be restricted. You have a bunch of side quests, different ways to traverse across the land. You've got rideable chocobos in there. I mean, what else do you need at this point? Well, a lot more. We're going to talk about that here. Got so many cool things that's going to make this game awesome. I love the battle system in this game. The combat looks so dope. with the ATB gadgets that you can spend like you did in the first game, but also with the dual text as well, and a full cast of characters to use, in addition to being able to play as Sephiroth, at least in some parts. This is what Final Fantasy is about to me. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to have so much content that fans are going to get excited about. They talked about 100 hours to complete everything, about 30 or so hours to take care of the main quest, and scaling difficulty as well. So the better that you play, the more and stronger the enemies get. So as you level up, they do as well to keep the challenge. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamically shifts as you go along. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it's going to be massive. It's going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to it in February. Number 7, Persona 3 Reload, again, February 2nd this time. And I have this over the other big RPGs for February because Persona 3 Reload has incredible substance and style. The game originally on the PS2 is already better than a lot of games that come out now, and they're completely rehauling the visual. And the combat system is being tweaked to be even better. They're adding new additions to the combat system to be able to exploit enemies and stuff that you have to worry about as well. They're reworking some of the content in the game. It's got great music, like always. Visuals are on point as well, and it just breathes new life into a game that's been already re-released multiple times. Persona 3 Reload is looking really, really good, and I hope that this success, because I think this game is going to do really well, will lead to a Persona 4 Golden complete remake as well. Coming in at number 6 is an interesting game, Unicorn Overlord, not to be confused or messed up with Unicorn Overload, which I hear people say all the time. Overlord, March 8th, 2024. And what makes this game super exciting is not only the beautiful visuals, but the amount of combat options, the amount of different races that you can recruit and put on your team is going to be unreal. There is a lot of stuff in this game, but it's also a unique blend of tactical RPG and more that Vanilliaware is creating to just kind of shake things up in that genre. You don't see a lot of people doing the 2D kind of side-scrolling tactical RPG feel, but this game has that. And the games that are on this list, there's a lot of unique style games that play a bit differently, and Unicorn Overlord makes it so high on my list because it is something different. Now, I don't know if it's going to be better overall than Final Fantasy and some of these other games. I'm just excited because it's cool to see Vanilliaware make some awesome new style of game. This kind of fits exactly what I'm looking for my old school 2D tactical RPG style of games. It looks like it's going to be a ton of fun and have a lot of content based off of what Vanilliaware and Atlus has already stated about the game. All right, guys, we're in the top 5. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Man, I'm excited for this Paper Mario the 1,000-Year Door. Now, after playing Super Mario RPG, I was blown away by how much fun I had with that game. It was just like pure joy the whole time playing. But I already know Paper Mario the 1,000-Year Door is better than Super Mario RPG. It takes some of its elements. Obviously, it's a natural or different type of evolution from the Super Mario RPG system, but I think they even take it to new heights when it comes down to it. And this game is going to be completely remastered. It's going to look beautiful on your Nintendo Switch OLED, especially like with that paper design and everything. I'm so looking forward to doing my action commands, getting my button presses right, and the incredible writing in the game. That's even better than Super Mario RPG at times. So I'm looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be so much fun with its combat, and I think that people are going to be in for a surprise. This, along with Super Mario RPG, will be the reason why Nintendo finally ditches the recent Paper Mario style of games. It's just like an action adventure game that has no RPG elements. This will be the reason why. We've already gotten big sales numbers for Super Mario RPG, and Paper Mario the 1,000-Year Door is going to do even better. So get ready, guys. This is going to be one of the best games released on the Nintendo Switch, hands down. Next up at number 4, Visions of Mana. SquareEnix, you know how to make a fan go crazy when it comes down to this. I love it. I'm a huge Mana fan. I've been playing Mana games since the beginning, since the original, at least the original Secret of Mana, and then later I played the Final Fantasy Mana, whatever, spin-off thingy Game Boy. But to me, the Mana series really is Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo. The beautiful style, the visuals, the rabbi enemies, there's just so much cool stuff. It's a staple in the series, and they're bringing it back, and it looks better than ever. I think this game's also going to be a Nintendo Switch 2 title as well. Imagine playing that anywhere that that you want to. So I think that Visions of Mana is bringing what makes the series incredible. They're taking their time. The producer says that he finally got his chance to make a new game. It's been like a decade and a half, going on 2 decades for the last brand new Mana game. Obviously, Trials of Mana and the Collection of Mana did incredibly well on the Nintendo Switch and on PlayStation, so of course they were going to be working on a new Mana game, and it looks like they finally have something for us. The combat looks solid as well. The locations and vistas just scream quality and magical and colorful. I love what they've done here, so I think that this is going to be a great JRPG experience for people to play in 2024. All right, guys, top 3, and it's Princess Peach Showtime stage. Let's go, March 22nd. Princess Peach Showtime is so high on this list because I am completely curious about this game. I am so curious about this game and how it's gonna play. I'm really hoping that it turns into some type of franchise, because look at all this different stuff that Princess Peach can do. One, I love Princess Peach. She's awesome. One of my favorite Nintendo characters, easily one of my favorite Mario characters out there. But you have Kung Fu Princess Peach, you have Detective Princess Peach, you have Sword Fighter Princess Peach, you have Baker Princess Peach, and there's going to be even more. So you're going through like a play and like a stage, and there's going to be cool stuff that you're going to be able to unlock between different segments and zones as Princess Peach changes up outfits and gameplay completely shifts towards whatever outfit she has. I love that. It's really cool. It's not necessarily the most unique idea, but it's unique and creative within the Mario universe for Princess Peach of all characters. So Princess Peach Showtime might not be better than a lot of these games on this list, but it's so high in terms of my big upcoming and more like most anticipated that I had to put it up here just because it looks dope and I like Princess Peach. It's good to have a new Princess Peach game. The first game she actually stars in solo wise since Super Princess Peach on the Nintendo DS, and I don't necessarily like that game that much. So I think this game's gonna be a lot better. At least I love the theme a lot more at this point. All right, coming in at number 2 is Deco Police. Let's go. Yes, this game was delayed. Yes, this game is having some issues there, but at the same time, we are going to get an update in April at the next level 5 Vision event. And from what they've done so far, from the gameplay that they've shown off, they have not only retooled the battle system to kind of be a bit more user-friendly, but then also add in other elements of strategy, but then also add in brand new locations, fully fleshing out the world, added in more density into the city. That was one of the reasons why they delayed the game. Now, this is a brand new IP. You want to make a great first impression. The last thing that you want is for people to turn on the game and it's trash as a brand new IP. So I understand why they're taking their time. I understand why they let us know about fleshing out the worlds and making it more dense, because from the gameplay demo, it didn't really seem like much was going on in the city. Plus, they want to add new locations. They want to add different areas. They don't want it just in that same dark city. They want to have other places based off of the different art that they showed off. So I'm looking forward to Deca Police. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. I think that the best way that I'm going to play this game, at least, is going to be the Japanese voice acting, but I'm interested to see how the English voice acting is going to work. But I think that this is going to be a great mix. But I think this is going to be a cool mix of everything that Level 5 has done when it comes to Professor Layton and Ace Attorney and some of their other RPGs, kind of all mixed into one. And coming in at number 4, this is the biggest game for me next year that we know about so far, and it's called Metaphor Re-Fantasio. Oh my goodness, they released a 14-minute video developer deep dive, and we learned so much more about this game and the new action RPG hybrid blend, action turn-based RPG hybrid blend. Yeah, they're actually doing it. So it is a mixture of that. You can start out battles in action, fight, potentially even defeat enemies right there, but certain enemies you're gonna have to break into turn-based action as it gets more intense. Love that about it. Now, you have 8 different tribes with unique characters within each of them, and your daily life or some of the simulation is going to have some similar aspects to what we've seen with Persona, which they did show that off where you're shaking hands with other characters that you meet from different tribes. And one of the key themes here is going to be religion and how that ties into the worldview, making your friends, your allies, your foes, and everything, and how that plays a part into how people are treated and what is going on in the world. And as you go across and trying to unify, this is exciting. Metaphor ReFantazio has shot all the way up. I was already excited for this game. I made a separate individual video talking about how awesome this game looks and how it's done the RPG impossible with some of the things. But I think that the Persona creators have really spent a lot of time, energy, effort, so much stuff, because when they talked about it in their video, they're like, hey, this game is going to be grand. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be something that people are going to be talking about. They are really excited and happy about this. And based off of what I've seen, it is going to be that good. But that's going to wrap it up here, guys, for 25 big upcoming Nintendo Switch games, in addition to Japanese RPGs for 2024. Let me know what you're excited about, what I missed, in the comment section below. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out some of my other big Nintendo Switch and RPG lists right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.